In order to get rid of its dependence on the US dollar, Russia proposed a BRICS currency plan as early as 2 years ago. But in fact, the core of this plan is actually the RMB, because among the BRICS countries, the RMB has become the most popular currency, even surpassing the status of the euro and the US dollar. Just a few days ago, the new BRICS summit kicked off. At this summit, Russia once again called on the BRICS countries to strengthen financial cooperation, especially to promote local currency settlement, in order to cope with the challenges brought by the US dollar hegemony. It is worth noting that this proposal has not been recognized by all countries, especially India and South Africa, the last rotating presidency, who clearly expressed their rejection and some different opinions. So why is Russia so active in promoting the internationalization of the RMB? And why do India and South Africa oppose it? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now let's get into today's topic. As we all know, the SWIFT payment system plays an indispensable role in international trade. As a global cooperative organization, SWIFT was jointly created by international banking peers to provide a unified channel, standard, and language for fund payment and settlement. Its financial message network covers the world, connecting more than 11,000 banks, financial institutions, financial market infrastructures, and corporate users in more than 200 countries and regions. SWIFT helps global banks to achieve interconnection and interoperability, allowing information and funds in cross-border payment transactions to be transmitted quickly and securely. This makes SWIFT one of the most important financial infrastructures in the world today, and almost all cross-border payment transactions rely on this system to complete. It is worth noting that although SWIFT is nominally a global organization, its rules and operating model are actually dominated by European and American countries. Therefore, the United States and Western countries often use SWIFT as a tool for economic sanctions to achieve political goals. For example, the United States has put pressure on Iran to limit its nuclear program or imposed restrictions on North Korea to curb its nuclear weapons development by restricting specific countries from using the SWIFT system. For some countries that lack international influence, they are often helpless in the face of such sanctions. However, after the outbreak of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict in 2022, the United States and its Western allies imposed a series of financial sanctions on Russia, including removing some Russian banks from the SWIFT system in an attempt to cut off its financial ties with the international market. This move made Russia deeply aware that the dollar-dominated financial system can be used as a political tool. Therefore, Russia began to implement the intention of de-dollarization, trying to use the influence of the BRICS countries to promote a payment and settlement system that replaces the US dollar. In June 2022, Russia first proposed the BRICS currency plan at the BRICS summit at the time, aiming to envision the establishment of a unified BRICS settlement currency. As representatives of emerging economies, the BRICS countries have a huge economic volume, abundant resources, and a vast market. Therefore, once this BRICS coin is issued and put into use, it may indeed pose a huge impact on the global dominance of the US dollar. The monopoly of the US dollar in the global exchange of physical resources will be weakened, and the US dollar system will also face challenges. However, Russia's BRICS currency proposal has not been recognized by all member countries. Some countries believe that their respective economic development paths, international cooperation objects, and geopolitical needs are different, and the plan to promote a single currency is not suitable for them. Therefore, although the BRICS currency plan failed to take place, the concept of de-dollarization has aroused the interest of many member countries. In this context, it can be said that de-dollarization has long become a consensus among the majority of BRICS countries. In view of this, Russia began to explore other de-dollarization plans and proposed a new plan at the most recent BRICS summit. So, what exactly is this plan? At the BRICS summit hosted by Russia in October this year, the world's attention was once again focused on this. According to official Russian data, the summit attracted high-level representatives from 33 countries and 6 international organizations to participate. Witnessed by these countries, the leaders of the BRICS summit jointly signed the Kazan Declaration, which contains 134 items covering many areas. But the most eye-catching topic is undoubtedly the discussion on de-dollarization. Russia made it clear at the summit that the current international financial architecture is in urgent need of reform and called on BRICS countries to strengthen financial cooperation, especially to promote local currency settlement and reduce dependence on the US dollar. In addition, Russia has also formulated a detailed timetable for the establishment of the BRICS settlement mechanism. The first task is to submit a research report on local currency cooperation, payment tools, and settlement platforms during the next BRICS presidency. With the addition of new members in 2023, the influence of BRICS countries continues to increase. Once the BRICS settlement mechanism is successfully established, it is expected to directly challenge the existing SWIFT settlement system. The so-called local currency cooperation actually refers to countries directly using their own currencies for settlement in international transactions, without relying on third-party currencies such as the US dollar. In this regard, some analysts believe that Russia's real intention in proposing this plan may be to promote the internationalization of the RMB. After all, China has always occupied a dominant position in international trade, and among the BRICS countries, many countries' trade exchanges, whether exports or imports, are centered on the Chinese market. If the BRICS countries can smoothly implement local currency cooperation, the scope of use of the RMB will undoubtedly be greatly expanded. Moreover, promoting the internationalization of the RMB is also the only option that may pose a substantial challenge to the US dollar at present. According to data from international banks, the RMB has been the world's 4th largest payment currency for 6 consecutive months, accounting for 4.52% of the total global payment volume, indicating that its position in the global payment market is steadily improving. In addition, more than 30 countries around the world have gradually turned to the RMB in trade settlement or investment activities, especially in emerging economies, where the acceptance and influence of the RMB have increased significantly. From Russia's perspective, the RMB cross-border payment system, CIPS, is regarded as the Chinese version of SWIFT, which can provide an alternative payment channel to a certain extent. If banks and enterprises in BRICS countries can gradually adopt this system, perhaps a safer payment system can be established to reduce dependence on the US dollar system. It is worth noting that after Russia proposed this plan, it immediately attracted protests from India. So, why doesn't India support it? The Indian government has always invested a lot of effort in promoting the internationalization of the rupee, trying to use more rupee settlement in foreign trade. However, due to problems such as the weak liquidity of the rupee, this plan has always progressed slowly, and it is difficult to achieve a breakthrough. In contrast, China, as one of India's biggest competitors, has steadily advanced its RMB internationalization process with remarkable results. Especially at the BRICS summit, Russia also made it clear that the RMB will play a fundamental role in the de-dollarization cooperation plan. India realizes that if it supports this plan, it will actually pave the way for the internationalization of the RMB, which is obviously something that India does not like to see. Just before the summit, India did not hesitate to publicly express its opposition, fearing that this plan would bring huge economic benefits and an improvement in China's international status, while India might be marginalized in this change. In addition, India is also concerned about the influence of the United States and Western countries in the global financial system and its relationship with these countries. In fact, earlier this year, when Russia held the rotating chairmanship, it began to actively promote the BRICS internal cross-border payment system project, but India has always been cautious about this. India even publicly stated its position in the United States, saying that it will never actively pursue de-dollarization, nor will it take relevant measures to cooperate with de-dollarization. For India, it is not only an important member of the BRICS, but also an important member of the US Western-dominated system. In the current international environment, India hopes to maintain a balance between the two camps, so as to maximize interests between the United States, the West, and the BRICS countries. Therefore, in the face of Russia's de-dollarization plan, India is bound to be unwilling to explicitly support it. It is worth noting that in addition to India, there is another country that does not agree with the plan mentioned by Russia, namely South Africa, the rotating chair of the last BRICS summit. It is understood that South Africa was the first country to express its opposition clearly at the summit. Officials participating in the meeting pointed out on the spot that the complexity of economic issues and the differences in development situations of various countries meant that high expectations should not be placed on this monetary plan. Currently, the BRICS countries have just completed their membership expansion, and there are still large differences in the structure and efficiency of various internal economies. Implementing a monetary cooperation plan without sufficient coordination may lead to problems within the BRICS countries similar to those in the EU. Taking the Eurozone as an example, there are significant differences between Eurozone countries in terms of economic development levels, fiscal policies, and productivity. For example, Germany has a solid economic foundation and relies on a strong export-oriented economy, while countries such as Greece and Italy face high debt and relatively weak economic structures. Therefore, South Africa is worried that if the BRICS countries rashly implement this currency plan without adjusting their internal economic policies or establishing a complete project mechanism, they are likely to repeat the mistakes of the Eurozone. In my opinion, South Africa's concerns are justified. As emerging economies, the BRICS countries have obvious differences in economic structure, market size, resource dependence, and development strategies. So, do you think the de-dollarization method proposed by Russia is feasible? To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.